Good morning. This is Saturday morning and it's partly cloudy. We had quite a bit of rain yesterday. It's breezy, but it's not a cold breeze. It feels good outside today, and Joe's outside analyzing his farm truck. He's still having a little bit of issues with that. So we just finished breakfast, and my low carb breakfast this morning was just a egg over easy and a piece of bacon. I made biscuits and gravy for Joe, and he had sausage and egg with his. I'm telling you guys, it's so hard not to eat biscuits and gravy when I make it. So I didn't deprive myself from it. I just took pinched two bites off of a biscuit and had about a teaspoon of gravy on each one. So I limited it to that, and thankful that I could have that, which I really shouldn't have, but I did. This is week 5, I think, of the low carb, and I've lost 6 pounds so far. So this after breakfast, he went out to work, and I put on some breakfast steak that's cooking over here in the skillet, and my idea is to fix beef fajitas, steak fajitas later tonight, or a steak and cheese sandwich for Joe. Not sandwich for me, but just steak and cheese and onions and peppers and that sort of thing. But we'll figure out something. It's just so delicious. And I have a video how I make the breakfast steak, so go back and look for that. If I can think of it when I post this video, I'll put the link in the description box below. But it's real thin steak, and I found some at Aldi yesterday, Black Angus, real thin cut beef, so we'll see how that goes. But I discovered a snack this week, and I just made a few of them the other day to see how they turned out, and they were delicious. Now, they're not low carb. Disclaimer, this snack is not low carb, but Joe really liked them. So I'm going to go ahead and make a batch. I can have one, only one, if I've done well for the day. So that will be my reward. When I've had a really good day, I might can have one. But I had these dates left over. The ones I made earlier this week, I had a package of store-bought dates from where I made the fruitcake cookies over Christmas. And I was looking for something that I could use up. And so I found this recipe of chocolate-covered almond-stuffed dates. And then I saw a video from the Presley Girls video where Corey had a package of those that she bought somewhere, and she said they were really good. So I thought, well, I'm going to try that recipe. I've looked at different stores here in our area for the store-bought kind, but I couldn't find any. So I'm making these. And it's real easy to make, and they are so delicious. So I used the dates in the package earlier this week, and now got these organic dates that I had bought at the Amish store that I thought I'd flavor my kefir with. And I quit using them because I really prefer using raisins, organic raisins. And I like the flavor of the raisins better than I do the dates and the kefir water. So anyway, I'm going to take some of these. They're already pitted. The recipe called for almond butter, but I don't have almond butter, and Joe loves peanut butter. So I'm going to fill this with the peanut butter and close it up. And then I'm going to melt some chocolate chips and dip these in the chocolate. I'll put them on this wax paper and put it in the refrigerator for the chocolate to harden, and they'll be ready to eat. So I'll show you as I go along. But there's a hole where the pit came out at the top. So I'm just going to take the knife down one side and open it up there. I think that's making it a lot easier. Go a lot faster that way. Yeah, that's the way to do it. Now I have several opened up here on this sheet, so I'm going to go ahead and fill those with peanut butter. I'm just using a small spoon, put peanut butter on the tip of it and close it up a bit. The whole inside filled up with peanut butter. Now I put just a little bit of paraffin wax in here to be melting. And I'm going to add some chocolate chips. These are milk chocolate that I got at Troyer's Market. Let that melt together. May have to add a little more wax. First time I did it, I didn't put any paraffin wax in it. The recipe didn't call for it, but it was just real thick and hard to dip. So I think adding a little paraffin wax will help with that. Okay, I got them all dipped in chocolate. I'm going to put these in the refrigerator to set up, and then I'll store them in an airtight container. The steak is just about done. Doesn't that look delicious? I'm using the breakfast steak I made a couple of days ago to make beef fajitas. So I've got the onions and peppers sauteing. I just added the meat. I shredded up the breakfast steak, and I'll be adding this McCormick's fajita seasoning. Got it ready for him to go back in there. Pick up that sock or rag or something on the floor. Yeah. Here is just a couple of used cat food cans that I've saved and washed. I'm going to put some honey in each one. Just enough to cover the bottom. You don't want to fill it all the way up. It's good. And then I got this at Walmart for under $3. It's called Roachaway Boric Acid. And it's 99%. Look on the back. This way, where did it say that? Anyway, it's 99% boric acid. That's what you want. and trying to do this one-handed. I just snipped the corner off. You don't want a whole lot in there. Okay, I opened up the hole a little lot larger. So just about a 1/4 teaspoon of boric acid in that, 1/8 to a 1/4 teaspoon. And then I take just a plastic spoon and stir that up good. Trying to film and do this one-handed is hard to do, so I'm going to have to turn the camera off and hold this can to get that mixed in. Now to make some more yellow jacket bait. Yellow jackets love meat, so I saved some old cat food that our cat didn't eat, and I'm going to pour apple juice on top of that with boric acid already mixed in with the apple juice. And here is a can of apple juice I've had out here, and it's just about empty. It's just about empty, so I'm going to fill it up too. Okay, that should do it for the yellow jackets. Well, the best laid plans. You know how that saying goes. Today's May the 2nd, and I wanted to get my potatoes, a row of potatoes planted that had seeded from last year's crop. Or sprouted, not seeded. They sprouted, and I thought I'd go ahead and plant one row. And I've got some onions I wanted to set out today and mow the yard today. But yesterday I came home from the grocery store, and there's an empty cooler sitting on the deck. I had taken out of the back of my car. I keep that in the car to put my groceries in, but I had set it out the day before because I was going to get a load of horse feed. And of course it rained that night, so the cooler was wet. So I just let it sit there, and when I got home from the grocery store, there's about 3 steps that goes up to the deck, and I just reached over to get that cooler and pull it toward me and turned, and something snapped in my lower back. It was painful. I couldn't move. I couldn't say anything. I dropped the cooler. Joe was standing on the carport here and saw me, and he said, "Why did you throw that cooler down?" I said, "I didn't throw it. I dropped it, and I can't move." And I said, "Something snapped in my back." And I barely could walk. I got inside, and for the rest of the day I just sat down with ice on my back and took some ibuprofen and kept the ice. I did the ice maybe 4 times that afternoon, and then when I went to bed I took some ibuprofen and slept, and thank the Lord I slept all night, but I had to put pillows between my legs to relieve the pressure off my back. Yesterday I couldn't hardly walk at all. I walked like a penguin, just side to side. I couldn't get my legs out in front of me, and when I sit, it doesn't hurt. But after I've been sitting a while and I get up, it's hard to straighten back up, and it's hard to walk. I start doing this side to side thing until my legs start loosening up and I can walk normal. And I've had some tingling going down my legs, so I thought I better go get that x-rayed. So I did. I went to the orthopedic. They did an x-ray, and the good news is there's nothing wrong with any of the discs or vertebrae. They all look fine. So with the symptoms that I'm having, the doctor said it was indicative of muscle spasms that I'm having as a result from that injury. So he put me on a steroid pack, and it's in the afternoon now, so I'll start those in the morning. And he told me not to take any more ibuprofen while I was on that steroid pack. So hopefully that will get me to feeling better. So Joe is down with the tractor now, getting it oiled up, and he's going to go ahead and mow the yard with the tractor. And I went in the garage and got the potatoes and cut them up and just threw them in the ditch in the garden that was already there, and he'll cover those up later. But I enjoy staying busy. I enjoy working outside, and it's the hardest thing that I have to be careful so I don't re-injure this back or make things worse. So I'm trying to be good. And it's about 6:30 and it's still 85 degrees out here, so it's pretty warm. But I thought as the evening goes on, it'll cool down some. It won't be too hot on Joe out there mowing. But here's this can of cat food that had the cat food left over and poured the apple juice in with boric acid. I'm going to take it down here by the strawberry bed and set it on top of the post there for those yellow jackets. And then I'll show you a project that I have been working on since last week, off and on. And that may be why I hurt my back just lifting that cooler and twisting, because you'll see what I'm talking about when I get down there. Okay, here's the post. I'm going to set this can up here. Oh, that can's almost empty. That one's got a little bit more in it, but they're drinking out of it. And I put a netting over my strawberry patch to keep the critters out, because the strawberries are starting to ripen. I don't know if you can see some down there. And I planted sunflowers here, and they're starting to come up good. And over here is the project that I was telling you about. I've got all that bad hay I was wanting to burn and had to throw it in the garden and till it in, but now got more. So I used this pile of cinder block that Joe had, and I created this fire pit. And I put 2 blocks down here in the middle, and these are old grates that came off of an old grill, and I thought we could have a little campfire down here and grill on it sometime. And I may need to raise that up. I'll just put more block on top of these 2 blocks to raise it up some. But I was proud of myself for doing this, and it wasn't bad with these blocks with the hole in them. But when I ran out of those, I had to use the solid blocks. These things are heavy. So I may have strained the muscles in my back getting those up there. I didn't feel like I did at the time, but maybe that's why I hurt my back so easy, just picking up that cooler and turning around with it. Anyway, hope it gets better soon. And there's my fire pit. So now I can just bring the old hay with the briars and horse nettle in it and put it in there and burn it, and it'll be contained. And Joe will feel much better about me having a fire. Well, I have another idea. This big strawberry pot here, I've not been using, but I think I know where I'm going to put it. It's going to go on the very top of the fire pit chimney, and I'll plant something in it to let it grow down over that. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Down over here or next?
Yeah, over here.
You couldn't get your legs under you to get back up?
Right.
But you finally did.
Yeah, but it's really tight.
Oh, I'm sorry, honey. I should have been down here. Look, what I found this in the yard walking down here. Do you know what that came off of?
Yeah,
it looks
one of these.
It looks like it's something maybe off the
lawnmower.
John Deere
Yeah,
mower.
the right color and everything. Go ahead and let me have it.
Wonder what that goes on.
Well, it goes on the John Deere one. Wheels look like.
Oh, I see. It is the wheels. Because there's one just like that. Right there. That one's got to come off too. We'll find where that one's missing and put it on there. So I guess tonight I'm just going to have to sit and watch Joe mow and not do anything. Maybe walk around a little bit. Have you got it all greased up and ready to go?
Yeah.
He's ready to go. You see the blooms on that tree next door. Absolutely beautiful. Beautiful. I think there's 2 of them there. And I'm not sure what kind of tree that is, but I enjoy those blooms. See if I can get Skipper in the zoom here. Okay, she's down there standing in the shade, and Nico is just beyond the other side of that tree. Here's the potatoes that I put in the ground. Now the ditch was there because Sam came over and used our tiller and tilled the garden for us, tilled theirs too. So when he comes out on this end, it makes a ditch. So I thought it was perfect to go ahead and put the potatoes in there. So Joe is going to get a hoe before he starts mowing and cover them up. At a rock. Throw it in the fire pit. Did that one row, so you're done. Thank you for doing that. Well, I got the onion sets planted, and that's all I'm going to do. And I'm sure Joe's going to fuss at me for doing that, but they only go in about 1 inch or 2 deep in the ground, and and the soil is so soft, I didn't have to use a lot of strength to cover them up. So I'm happy to get the potatoes and onions planted to that. They're calling for rain for the next 5 days, so I'm happy. So I think that'll look cute, sitting up there getting something pretty to plant in it. Since I injured my lower back a couple days ago, Joe's brought the tiller out to finish getting the grass away from around the tree where I want to plant my flowers that I bought. He's doing a good job. That tiller is ancient though. Alright, Joe's taking a break from tilling. This is an ancient tiller, isn't it, honey?
Yeah.
I think it came over on the ark.
I bought it from a guy at Eastman that got 1968, 78, 68, about 60, 68, 65, 68.
You weren't working at Eastman then, were you?
Yeah.
And what year did you go to work at Eastman?
68.
Okay. Well, it takes some muscle to hold on to that thing. But he's getting all this grass out for me so we can set those plants out. And look at that big cherry tree. Joe was just talking about how big that tree is. It just keeps going and going and going and going. It's going to start raining this afternoon, so we're trying to do what we can outside before that happens. Aren't we, honey?
Yeah.
You're going to need some food here pretty soon, aren't you?
Soup?
Some food.
Yeah, I'll take it. Something.
How about that spicy chicken? I'll make you a sandwich with it that I had those chicken tenders the other day.
Yeah.
Would you like a sandwich with those?
Yeah, I could do that.
Okay.
I don't think I can do it this thing.
You don't think you can do it with it?
No.
I know, it's a struggle to hang on to it.
You take a hold of it one time and see what it's like.
Your whole body was shaking.
Yeah.
It was shaking your whole body. Joe's mother gave us a start off of her peony. And it's got blooms all over it this year. And one's opened up. So pretty. And if you remember in last year's video and year before that, I had planted a grapevine stalk here that my brother sent up that was my grandmother's grapevine. But I don't think it had enough of a root ball on it, and it never did do anything, and it finally just died. So we got it up. And look at the blackberries blooming back here. It's going to have plenty of blackberries on it this year. So they say a cold front's going to move in this weekend. So I guess this is going to be blackberry winter. These plants I bought to go under the cherry tree last week, the lilies, are starting to open up. And I can't remember, something frost they were called. Indigo frost. Last time I tried to scan this, it wouldn't focus. There we go, indigo frost. trumpet-shaped lilies. Look who showed up at my door bearing strawberries, fresh Scott's strawberries, and they already smell sweet. Have you tried them yet?
They're delicious, as always.
I hear Donald Duck. Thank you, guys. You're the best.
You're so welcome.
Love you.